Welcome back to the BHAW Army Wrestling Radio Show. Jordan Tom, followed with Brian Rowan. And we're back with a weekly wrap-up with Coach Ward. This is episode 29. We had a commanding victory over Hofstra, 30-18. Coach, how you feeling?
How do I feel about the commanding, as you call it? Yeah, commanding win. So, you know, what I said to our team, what I said to, our people here, that our sports information people is, listen, it's a win. It felt really good to get back out there. It's our first dual meet since, I guess, February of last year. So first dual meet in 11 months. It wasn't pretty. I mean, it was maybe the most unique, most bizarre dual meet that I've ever been a part of. Like unexpected things happened, and it definitely was anything but pretty. We found a way to get a win as a team, so that was good. Some guys wrestled really well. Some guys did not. I mean, talk about a mixed bag. You know, coming away from that dual meet, I've never had another dual meet like it. I'm fortunate, or feel fortunate we walked away with a win. I didn't feel very good walking away from it, but glad the guys got a dub. Glad guys got to get out there and compete again. So, I mean, overall, yeah, we'll take it.
Very high scoring. I was on the slopes in Breckenridge when and I didn't get to watch it. I came back and I looked at the score. I saw it was 30-18. I was like, it's a high scoring dual meet for college.
Yeah, and we were deducted a team point, so it could have been like 31-18, which we can get into the team point part later. I'm usually good for at least one warning you only get one warning. The next one's a point. But I'm good for the warning every dual meet, but we lost a team point. Yeah, I mean, listen, we gave up 3 pins in a dual meet and still won it, which is just nuts. We had a forfeit win at 125. We had a pin at 149. We had a pin at 184. So, we had 3 6-point victories, on our end too, and then 4 decisions. So it was a high scoring match. I'm glad it's done. I love the bonus points we got, but I don't like giving up 3 pins. So, luckily we get a chance to go back and compete again on Saturday against Binghamton. So hopefully we're a little bit sharper and a little bit more prepared, ready to go.
Yeah, it's pretty strange when you look at the box score. You got forfeit, fall, major decision, fall decision, fall, injury default, decision. That's pretty weird.
Yeah, I don't want another one. Like, I don't want another duel like that. I love the pins. I love the bonus points that we got, but pretty sloppy in some areas. We gotta make some adjustments, fix some things.
Yeah, and I was thinking, so, normally, you start with a couple tournaments in the beginning of the year and gives you a little bit of time to get a couple matches, maybe 3 and 2 or something. You still get 5 matches in the weekend.
Right.
You get a little bit of time. Coaches are telling you some adjustments you want to make between matches 2, 3, 4. It's got to be hard when you're just doing one match, then you have 7 days rest for the next one. I mean, that's definitely got to be a large component of it.
Well, when you look at, especially, look at who we have wrestling too in the match, the number of matches they've had over their career. Mark Montgomery at 133 hasn't wrestled since last November. So it had been, 14 months since his last time competing. And that's kind of the way it looked when he got out there, to be honest. It looked like he hadn't been on a wrestle mat in a long time. In practice, he's been looking awesome. He's a really tough kid, super hardworking, and just looked like, maybe the moment got the best of him. He hadn't been on a wrestling mat in 14 months, in competition. So, I think that's part of it is like you don't have the matches and, compounded on top of that, you don't have any recent matches at all. It's not like you didn't have 10 matches, over the past month. You haven't had any matches in a year, So, yeah, I mean, I think that's part of the inconsistency for sure. So, listen, for some guys, there's no doubt it was a wake-up call. Like, okay, like people are coming for us. We can't sneak up on anybody anymore. Our program's better than that. And we got to be sharp every time we step out there, whether you wrestled last month or not. I mean, their team, they hadn't wrestled in a long time. They were still able to pin us 3 times. So, they can do it. We just got to be a little bit sharper.
Yeah, well, we definitely hit it on some of the weaker spots. What was some of the takeaways that you were excited about, or some of the things that we competed that were positive?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think the bottom line is we gave up 3 pins and still won a dual meet. That's freaking hard to do, So that says a lot about your team. And like when things aren't going your way, they can still maintain, the course they're on and find a way to get the result they want. I thought both of our heavyweights wrestled really good. Their guy's tough. I mean, he's a lot to handle. Both our heavyweights wrestled really well. I thought Taylor Brown came out really strong. He won by injury default, and you guys have seen it. He had a really nice hip toss, and an injury happened there. And but Taylor came out. There was like no doubt in his mind. He came out and he wrestled hard, so I love that. And even other matches, I loved bits and pieces of it. Even if it wasn't a complete 7 minutes. I thought Bo Guffey was really aggressive. It was an ugly, like sloppy kind of match, but he took a lot of shots. And going into the third period of his match, it was like, okay, which way is this going to go? He scores the last takedown, rides the guy out. That was good. PJ, what can you say? Took the guy down, turned him a couple times, pinned him. Awesome. Keep it up. Logan Brown, super aggressive. He gave up a takedown there at the end we didn't like. But he was the aggressor for, 6 minutes and 58 seconds of that match. So, there's a lot to take away from that was really positive. Here's the thing, the most positive outcome of that dual meet was a conversation we had as a team yesterday, and hearing the guys reflect on their performances and hearing them like admit where they went wrong and also stand up for themselves and say the things that they did well. Like guys stood up and said, no, I was aggressive. I dictated the pace and I pushed really hard. And they had a backbone, stood up for themselves, and they knew they did something well. They spoke up and said it. And where they thought they went wrong, they weren't afraid to say, listen, I wish I could have that one back, but here's how I can fix it going forward. To me, that's by far the biggest takeaway from the dual meet. The biggest positive is the guys owned it. They owned what they did well, and they owned, what they're not proud of. So when you do that, you can grow, you can get better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So looking ahead at this weekend, you guys have 4 guys ranked. Binghamton has 2 guys ranked, but not any of the same weights. What are you excited about this weekend?
Man, we have 4 guys ranked. Well, that's good. For us, it's like every time we get to compete, we get to learn something about our team. And I need to know a little bit more. I'm excited. Ryan Chauvin finally going to get a match. So that's exciting. We want to see him wrestle. But up and down the lineup, obviously, who are their ranked guys? I know 184. Where else are they ranked? Is it 41?
Yeah, tramping.
Yeah, he's a lot to handle. We've split matches with him in the past. So whoever gets the nod, it's going to be Lane or Logan at 141. Excited to see that one. That'll be a good bout. Their guy's a handful at 184, right? We wrestled him a few times. The dude's a hammer. So I'm excited to see how Taylor Brown, comes out and competes against one of the top guys in the country. And then, in other matches, it's like in a typical year, maybe you highlight those ranked bouts. But in a year like this, every single match matters. So, I've only watched like 25 wrestling matches this year. That's it.
That's crazy.
It's almost February. So I need to see some more. So I'm looking forward to all of them. This weekend, by the way, is going to be a traditional dual meet with, I think, 2 extra matches. They're only allowed 2 extra matches at Binghamton. Each school kind of has different rules and self-imposed restrictions. That's one that they have. They're only allowed 2 extra guys. So we'll have 2 extra matches and a dual meet on Saturday.
Speaking of rankings, I know the cliche thing is always like rankings don't matter, but to some degree they kind of matter. I think this year's unique in the sense that typically probably that I'm going to go with like 16 to 20 range is like always fluctuating with new guys falling in, falling out, moving up and down just a little bit. Just that shift this year, it's hard to make when there's like not as many matches and it's just dual meets. You don't get as many ranked on rank air quotes matches this year. So yeah, it truly is this year, not a cliche. I think the rankings really don't matter to some degree.
So what are you basing it on? Last year, in somebody's opinion, I think this guy's really good, we're going to rank him 12th,
Sure.
So this year it's like, listen, we have 4 individuals ranked. We're ranked 22nd in the coaches poll as a team. We didn't look like the 22nd, ranked team in the country a few days ago. So this weekend we get a chance to show that we deserve those votes. But rankings don't matter. Like, we know Trampy's tough. We know that. Mm-hmm. We know their guy at 184 is one of the best in the country. So whatever they're ranked, it doesn't matter. Binghamton has a good team. Like, I'm surprised they only have 2 ranked. Hearing that's a little bit surprising because I know they're a really tough team and it's going to be a big challenge for us. So rankings, throw it out. It's going to be 10 tough bouts, and we got to get ready for them.
Did you watch any other EIWA matches this weekend? I know, like, Navy Wrestling pretty high.
No, I watched us a few times, went back and watched ours, and typically I will, you watch your opponents as a coach, like it's your job, you're supposed to scout, but we have whatever film is saved. Some people watch it and save it. I haven't gone and looked at it yet. I mean, I looked through results and I looked through box scores, but I haven't watched any film with anybody else. Yeah. What about you, B-Row? Did you watch any this weekend?
I did. I watched some highlights and some clips, but I watched the freestyle in France a little bit.
Did you watch the Burroughs-Taylor match by any chance?
Are we going to talk about this?
Are we call it a wrestling match, or was it a dance-off?
First off, who do you want to apologize to first? Do you want to apologize to me and JT here for your outburst last week? And
I want to apologize to the fans who watched that wrestling match last Wednesday night.
He's not backing time off this one.
Are you serious? You didn't think it was a good match at all?
No. I don't think that they should have awarded that takedown to Taylor when Burroughs pulled his groin there. That changed the dynamic of the match, and then he shut it down. I mean,
he did kind of shut it down there. He did kind of shut it. I mean, if the score's different, he doesn't give up those easy push outs.
Yeah, and that's the whole Twitter universe was like, we shouldn't have criteria. This is why we have overtime. It's like, no, they knew what the criteria was. If there was overtime, there'd be more dancing around.
Yeah, no, criteria. I don't know, JT, what your thoughts on this. I mean, criteria is the way to go. It's superior. Like, you always know somebody is going to win this match, when this clock hits 0. Somebody is going to win. And the wrestling fans, we understand criteria at this point. We get it.
Yep. So,
no, and if Coach Shuck's going to be watching, Coach Shuck's like, no, I want unlimited overtime. I want you to wrestle for 37 extra minutes. Coach Shuck wants Greco to go for 37 extra minutes, And I'm like, oh my God, I can't watch Greco for 3 minutes. But anyways, so I'm a fan of criteria. Yeah.
I'm a criteria fan. I'm also a fan of implementing the push out into NCAA.
Yeah, for sure. I think most of us are by this point. Here's what I think about push out and NCAA. If you make it 2 feet is the push out point, both the entire foot, both of your feet go out of bounds, point. We can live with that. 1 foot going out of bounds, I think that becomes a little bit. And if you've watched, there's a lot of skill into getting push outs in freestyle. There's some really solid technique to it. But what you see in folk style wrestling now in college, you see people get on the edge. The action's completely changed. Now it becomes, okay, let's keep him on the edge. Let's try to get like a half shot, and nobody really wants to commit to a shot because then you're on the edge and it's really hard to finish because you're running out of real estate. The guy that's on the edge is only thinking about getting to the middle. So it accomplishes the goal of, the product now is way better than it used to be, right? So what we have now is an improvement. Without a doubt, it's not even a question. Matches are faster. There's not 20 stoppages per bout for going out of bounds, but you don't see the action on the edge of the mat anymore. Both guys get in the zone. You don't see a flurry. You see a bunch of pushing and a guy trying to circle in. So to me, just make it a push out. We shouldn't be holding our breath every time somebody goes out of bounds. Like, you look at the ref, what's he going to call? And the ref is like, action. That was action,
There's flaws with that too, because I don't know if you saw or followed the Gilman loss in the semis, where it was they awarded the takedown. Where now there's circumstances where you don't know if they're grounded, if it's one, or if it's a takedown. It's
the grounded thing is that can be challenging because you can game that. But I'm talking in folk style. If you made it both of your feet go out of bounds, then it could be a point. I like that better than just a straight, 1 foot out of bounds. The guys that we're watching wrestle in France and world championships, these are some of the best athletes in the world, right? You watch, college wrestling at the Division 1, 2, 3, NAIA, and JUCO levels. Some of them aren't the best athletes in the world. So to get them to move that quickly on the edge and be able to get both, it's a challenge. The best guys in the world make it look pretty easy to get back, into the center of the mat. When in reality, for your average athlete, it's pretty challenging. And I just don't want to see wrestling turn into a bunch, just push outs. So I think 2 feet going out of bounds, that's a good rule. Make it a stall call or a point, whatever you want to do. Anything's better than looking at the ref, holding your breath, seeing what they call. One coach is yelling at him. The other coach is saying, good call.
Are they going to call stalling? Are they going to call fleeing? Are they going to call, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Too much ambiguity.
Well, I'm glad we can all agree on that. And believe it or not, we like BHAW, we agree with BHAW on something here, which makes me really question.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Am I thinking about this the right way?
You guys sound like Ned right now. He was just on me all like after this last episode. He just kept hounding me on Instagram, just talking smack.
What do you expect? He's in overtime. He's going unlimited overtime right there. Episode's over. Chuck's going. I don't know what you expect.
Oh, man. So we got some listener questions. We've answered a few of them. You ready for this, Kevin?
Yeah, I'm always ready. Fire away.
So from Patrick Smith, class of 2011, does getting absolutely launched equal injury time while getting pinned?
So that was a tough one. We were not happy. Where the dual meet was going, we were like, okay, hey, their 184 pounder, he placed at the NWA tournament last year. I think was ranked 4th in the conference going in. We're like, this guy's pretty good, and he is. So when Spice is able to go out there and get a couple takedowns, he's hand fighting hard.
Nice.
Gets a takedown and then, hits his little hip toss that we've seen him do a lot in the room. And he's got the guy. And the ref's got to stop it at that point, I guess, but I thought, the ref could have slapped the mat and then stopped it and taken care of it. Whatever.
When the team point came in?
No. So, but he did bring that up later on. He was like, I let that one slide earlier at 184. And I was like, what did the ref say to me? He was like, well, I gave you the benefit of the doubt at 184. And I was like, well, really, you gave them the benefit of the doubt because you stopped the match when he was on his back. Anyway, so the team point came in, I think at heavyweight. Yeah, it was a heavyweight where Sully gets his takedown. So the opponent's grabbing Sully's knee brace to try to keep him from going behind him, which it's a technical violation. I don't mind the attitude. Grab him by the knee brace. Don't give up a singlet. I can respect that. Grab the singlet, knee brace. Don't give up a takedown. Whatever. I respect the fight there, but it's illegal. And the refs call it. So the ref calls it a technical violation. But when Sully gets behind him, he's got the guy broken down flat, and there's like 20 seconds left in the period, and we're like, okay, takedown and a ride out, and the ref stops the match to award the technical violation. And so Ned and I both, we had this agreement that if anything like that happened, we would both immediately jump from our chairs onto the wrestling mat. And we executed it. It was perfect. We nailed it, right? So we both jump up and we're, what? No, because you got a heavyweight broken down. This guy's good. We got him broken down flat. Well, you don't stop the match to award a technical violation. And the ref was like, no, that's the rule. He was pissed at us. That's the rule. I have to stop it. But later on, to his credit, he was like, man, I messed up. Like, I wasn't supposed to stop that, But we got a team point, for protesting a misapplication of the rule. Just kind of a bizarre situation, where like the ref made the wrong call. We protested. We got penalized, Later, he's like, hey, I'm sorry about that. It's been a long time since I've reffed, which, it's been a long time since we've wrestled. It's been a long time since they've officiated too. And he's a really good official. He's one of the best in the conference, goes to the NCAA tournament and officiates. So he knows what he's doing. But it's kind of a lapse there. But that was the team point, is we jumped on the mat, and you're not allowed to jump onto the mat.
Classic.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this, Kevin, but like 5 years ago, me and Jimmy Rafferty, that way now Jimmy's referenced in another episode, we went to UNC. You guys, it was like you guys, UNC, America. It was like the dual meet that you guys do, but it was at UNC that year.
It was terrible.
I just remember
that was terrible.
Like, we went to, so like the night match was like kind of crowded. There were like, a decent amount of fans, but like the noon match, no one was there. It was like me and Jimmy, and that was it.
Yeah.
And it was so quiet in this little stadium other than you screaming constantly at the refs. And I just that was like my first year of coaching in North Carolina, like high school system. And you can't, like you say something to the ref, you get like warned to like kicked out, and you're like berating them. So to give them a team
berating is a strong.
I don't know. It was you were fuming. Oh, I remember
chastising them.
I believe that. I believe I was fuming. I believe I was pretty angry. I think I was angry pretty much the entire day, if I remember that.
It probably seemed worse because it was so quiet in this arena, other than like you like from 100 feet away, just acting like you're having a personal conversation with a ref, but there's like this large gap and you're screaming at the top of your lungs.
Well, let me tell you, like I probably mellowed out just a little bit, but I still get fired up. Like I'm like, hey man, I know what our guys put into it. I know how much me and the coaching staff puts into it. Yeah, if you're an official, I expect you to be on top of your game. Like, listen, I make this. Here's what people understand. Like, I yell at myself even worse, when I make mistakes, maybe just not quite so loud, where everybody hears it. But I call myself way worse names, when I screw up. Let me tell you about that dual meet. It was 3 or 4 dual meets there at North Carolina. So that was like early January, right? So we came back to West Point to train to get ready to go down there. We're supposed to fly out, I don't know what day, like a Thursday. Well, there's a blizzard coming in. And so we're like, this is on Wednesday, the day before. We're like, this storm's coming in tomorrow. There's no way we can make our flight. And I'm like, call the bus, somebody get us a bus. So whoever's, was assisting at the time, we get a bus and we're like, guys, we're not flying out tomorrow. We're leaving tonight. And we're driving through the night to North Carolina. So we got on a bus that night, drove through the night to North Carolina, went straight to the hotel when we got there, got like 3 hours of sleep, went and worked out, and then competed, the next morning. It was just like a brutal trip, looking back on it. I mean, that's the kind of experiences that you want. You didn't know you wanted it at the time, but those are the experiences you talk about a little bit later on. And then, we didn't wrestle very well. Hey, John Paxton came up to me after the dual meet, our last dual meet of the day, and I was pissed. I think we got beat by Wyoming there, that third dual meet. Or did we beat them then? I don't know, but I was in a bad mood anyway. And Paxton came up in the most sincere way possible. John was like, hey, are your guys feeling okay? Like, it looked like maybe some of them are kind of sick or something, And like, he meant it. Like, he was like being sincere and caring. And I was like, said a lot of 4-letter words, get away. I was like, well, you talk about no, they're not sick. They're just, other things. But man, you bring back a lot of memories of that day there. I'm glad we survived that trip and we were better because of it.
Turns out sleep is not that important, right?
Listen, sleep on the bus. Good luck. Hey, some other time. Now you've got me on a roll. I'm thinking about all of our bus trips. At some point, not tonight, we're going to tell the story about our bus trip home from Chattanooga at the Southern Scuffle. We're going to have to bring a couple guests on, but we're going to bring, we'll probably reach out to Chewy out at Cal Poly now and bring Chewy and Colonel Cook on to tell the story about our night ride. We left Chattanooga at like 9 p.m. one night on a bus headed back to New York. And I'll preface it with this. We stopped at a gas station to let the guys get something to eat because nothing was open. And we had a 25-pounder on the team at the time that was like terrible making weight. Like, he was always huge. He's the first one that came on the bus, and Chewy's like, hey, what do you got in your pockets? And the kid goes, nothing. He's like, no, what's in your pocket? He goes, oh, just some gum, and pulls out a pack of gum. And Chewy's like, I'm calling BS on that. What's in your pockets? He opens he's got donuts and all kinds of stuff in there. And then we shook everybody down that got back on the bus. I mean, we had like 2 boxes full of food that we took away from the guys. That was just the start of the trip home. So for another episode, we got to bring Chewy and Colonel Cook on and tell that story. But we'll save that for another time. What were we talking about? Binghamton? Is that what we're supposed to be talking about right now?
Something like that.
Yeah. All right.
I don't know how we got on that. We got into the listener questions, and I'm not sure how we got onto that.
Hey, any old grads that were on that bus ride? I'm talking to you, Samson, Russ, Logan Everett, that crew. I think Kaywood, Barnes, Austin Wilding. I'm trying to think who all was on that trip. Those guys need to chime in next week with some questions. We'll talk about the Southern Scuffle Shakedown.
Yeah, comment below with whatever your favorite snack was that got confiscated.
Samson's still pissed we got his chips.
So, question from Lance Penhale. It's kind of rhetorical, but is Willie Simpson the best commentator of all time?
Comment below, I guess. We let the fans decide. I don't get to listen to him. You guys tell me what's Willie doing well. What's he got to work on?
He's pretty good. He's pretty polished, actually. I would say he's better at commentating than he is speaking in real life. I'm like, Willie, you don't sound like this when you talk normally. The camera's on and bam.
I'm telling you, he comes in the wrestling room like 2 days before a dual meet. He's got his notepad. He's in there taking his notes, getting insights from the coach. Like, he's prepared. He's not just sitting down there and winging it. He's putting in the work.
That a baby.
Yeah.
Christian Schluck asks, can we work in 2 more Browns into the lineup for a cool 50% of the starting lineup being full Browns?
We need some more, right? We've got 2 more years. We got JT and Owen for another year. We got LB for a couple another years. So who else we got? What other Browns? We got Logan. We got Owen.
Last week it was
we got Taylor Brown.
Taylor and JT. So we had 3 Browns in.
Yeah. There's some more. All you recruits out there with the last name Brown, hit us up. And let's see what we can do. Because look, it's working out, right? I mean, it's working out for these guys. Spice is here all over Instagram, throwing people to their back, getting all kinds of likes and comments. JT with all the chains and tattoos that he's got, and look at Logan Brown out there getting like 8 takedowns in his first dual meet since last year. So it's working out for him right now. Yeah, let's keep it up.
I've noticed we got a lot of guys with ink. Did they come in with ink, or is there somebody that's influencing this trend?
There's an influence somewhere. There's an insider.
Yeah.
Listen, they got ink and they got gold chains.
I was gonna say the chains weren't around back when I was there either as much.
What was up with the chains?
I don't know.
I don't know either. But listen, hey, as long as they're doing what they're supposed to do and they're living the right way, you want chains, you want your tattoos, that's good. Whatever it is, you can take that up with your parents, and the Army. But for me, hey, keep the haircut and keep training, wrestling hard, wear your chains in between practice, whatever.
Yeah.
So we had another question from Chick from Chick's 4 Count. Has fundraising started for the new wrestling facility? What locations are being surveyed? If it's in a new building, will the Arvin Gym location be used for a possible women's team? A lot of questions wrapped all in there in one, but
yeah, no, he's got to get his 4 questions in. That's his 4 count.
No biscuit.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love the way he's thinking. Will the space in Arvin be used for a women's team? Man, that would be awesome. I hope so. I don't think there's any discussions right now at West Point about adding a women's program, but I can say it would be an awesome fit. I don't think that the timing is right, this week to do it for sure. So let's keep talking about that because I think it's a really good idea. What locations? We know the location, and it's behind the Foley Indoor Football Field. It's what's called Truxton now, the old lacrosse building, which would be completely redone, and a mat room added behind it. Really, the biggest, most important question you asked is fundraising began. I mean, yeah, fundraising's began, but, COVID really kind of screwed everything up where, college athletics in general, took an enormous revenue hit. And so, looking for new capital projects is just kind of like tough in this environment. We should do it though. Like, I'll go on the record as saying it needs to be done. We need a home, I look at we got dual meets. We're wrestling in a track and field house, for our dual meets. Well, next week when Bucknell comes in, we have to wrestle on Sunday because there's a track and field meet on Saturday. And when there's track and field, what do they use? Well, they use the track and the field, right?
Yep.
Well, we can't use Crystal because there's basketball. So, there's a basketball game, so they use a basketball court. And you're like, okay, so where does Army Wrestling go? We need a home. We need a spot. Right now, we're kind of like renting. We're a tenant in Arvin Gym, which is a really cool facility. I mean, it works. It's really nice. But yeah, we need a home, and it's probably time, now to start let's get back to it, So that's my job. Thanks, Chick, for reminding me. Is we got to get back on that. And let's make a stronger push because it needs to be done. It's like vaccines are on the way. The end's in sight. We need our next home, and sooner rather than later.
How is fundraising? We haven't talked about that. It's been probably 3 or 4 months since like the last kind of talk of that. Have the monthly contributions like went up much, or is it kind of stabilized?
It's kind of stabilized. We made a big jump and we did a really good job. Like, appreciate all the supporters out there. Our giving day was pretty successful, 15,000-ish, whatever it was on giving day. And that's real money, that our program can use and we need, especially at a time like this. So yeah, fundraising is going well. The West Point Wrestling Club is continuing to be like a really big need of ours. So anybody that's interested in giving, West Point Wrestling Club and the Friends of Army Wrestling are the two ways that really impact our program. It's going well, especially considering kind of the climate that we've been living through the past, 10 months now. So, but yeah, I'll say what I said a few minutes ago. It's like, it's time to pick it back up, as the end's coming in sight, vaccines are on the way, like, let's ramp it up again.
And so the money for the new facility, does that come from supporters of the wrestling program? Does it come from West Point Athletics budget? Does it come from DOD? Like, I don't have any concept.
Yeah, not DOD. So it's Army West Point Athletics and it's supporters of the program, which probably means it's going to be supporters of the program.
Yep.
The reality of it is our program, we have some alumni, we have some friends that can make it happen. It's just, we've got to be able to convince people of how important it is and get them to want to partner with us, and giving our team a facility that represents, what we think our guys represent. We want something that, is representative of the work that they put in and we think, the level of our program. We're a top 25 program in the country, and let's treat ourselves like it. Let's have one of the best facilities, not just in the conference, but in the country. So we need to have a facility that's worthy of the Army Wrestling brand. That's for sure.
Last question we got from David Cloninger, the Prepsters, just asking about what's competition look like for them this year? Are they getting any? Are they not getting any?
Yeah. All right, DC, what's up? Speaking of the club, DC is one of our most loyal fans and supporters, and I'm sure when I get off of here, I've got a couple text messages from him right now, I'm sure. So we talk Army Wrestling every night. You could have just texted me, DC, but it's probably because I haven't been answering his messages lately. So prep school, man, it's been tough because you guys know, like, open tournaments aren't happening, and they had one dual meet against the Air Force prep school earlier in the year, really solid performance from our guys. And that's it. They've had one competition. So, I mean, it's tough because there's no open tournaments and opportunities to compete are just like few and far between. That's all there is to it. But I can tell you, it's an awesome group. We're pumped about them. Like, they're going to make an immediate impact when they step in next year. Unfortunately, there's just not a lot of results and film to watch on them this year because the opportunities just aren't there. Yeah.
Well, what else you got, Coach?
Yep. This weekend is Saturday. So remember that. We had a schedule change. It was originally Sunday. Now it's Saturday, 2 p.m. Binghamton at home. It'll be the toughest dual meet we've had. Hofstra is a damn good team, and they put up, a hell of a fight. But this is, I think, going to be a tougher matchup for us. Just the matchups that are there up and down the lineup. So it'll be a good one. It'll be on Night Vision. I think Willie's going to be calling it again. So you guys can tune in. Yeah, tune in, watch it for free. Let us know what you think. Other than that, man, I just say that I appreciate everybody's support. I appreciate people tuning in. Excited for watch these guys compete here in a few days.
Heck yeah.
Awesome.
All right, Coach. Best of luck this weekend. Look forward to talking next week.
All right, fellas. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you in a few days.
Thanks for tuning in to the BHAW Radio Show. If you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe and leave us a 5-star rating on your favorite podcast platform. If there's something you'd like to hear on a future show, reach out to us on any of our social media, Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. Or you can reach us at email, bhaw.radio@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts, and as always, go Army, be Navy.